Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. It's Thursday night, 9 o'clock, time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Well, we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight because one of our guests can only join us for a short period of time. He's currently sitting at the airport. I thought he might be flying down to watch Munster against the Stormers, but it's not the case. But it's welcome to Harry Jones. Harry, great to have you on the show, mate.
How's it, Brent? How's it, Henrik?
We got we'll get through as much as we can with Harry, and then to introduce Henrik, and it looks like a British and Irish Lions top there. Henrik, is that correct?
Yeah, Brent, it is. It was a 40th birthday present from two good friends of mine. Closest I could get to a Munster shirt, so yeah.
Well, Peter Paul saying, get on with the show, guys. My lights go off at 10 o'clock. Peter Paul, I can tell you, I had no power from 8 to 4 today. They called it planned maintenance, but they forgot to tell us about it. And my power just came on again now, so that's the joy of South Africa. Mark Dunphy, Mark, I'm very proud of you for coming on to the show, man. I can imagine how gutted you are by that Leinster performance last week. I wasn't too happy about it myself, having been on Leinster as my best bet. But I think what we're going to do then, instead of starting Super Rugby, Harry, knowing you're under a bit of time pressure, I want to get cracking straight on to the URC Final, which is obviously Stormers up against Munster. These sides met just a few weeks ago with Munster actually getting the better of the Stormers in Cape Town. And Harry, I'm going to start with you. We've got the Stormers favourites at home here, -5.5. And we've got a points line of 48.5 at the Cape Town Stadium. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, no, I think that Stormers are going to take this, but I don't think that's the right line. I think you're in finals footy. You've got a formidable foe. I think Munster knows how to drag the game down. They've already showed it against the most attacking club team in the world. Stormers can score, but they got a dodgy pitch, and they have finals pressure, and you have some players on the Stormers that are not that seasoned. I'm looking particularly at the engine room, not the front row, of course, but we're looking at the second row, and we're looking a little bit at the game managers. Herschel Yankees is a wonderful player, but sometimes he can be under pressure. Mani Libbok has the weight of the world on him because he's thinking of that place 33 on the plane. So there's everything set up here with a lot of, too much talking a week ago or whatever in the suite, that you could see how Munster would have an ability to make this tight. In the end, I think the Stormers have too much firepower, but I think all season long, you guys would agree with me, they let teams back in. And so they're very good at winning matches 32 to 28, 30, having gone out in front, but they're not so good at burying a team and going up and keeping it that way. So I suppose we're looking at a start. The first 20 minutes are going to matter a lot. You got to stick your line-out throws if you're going to yell and shout in the suite about what you're going to do to another team. And Peter O'Mahony is one of the best shit talkers in the world, and he actually took Sam Cane out of his game. So I think we'll see a lot of mind games, and I think it's going to be a tough one. I would also wonder about that point spread, just because of, again, the finals syndrome, where it's more difficult to make your kicks and it's more difficult to finish your breaks.
Yeah, so Harry, I mean, looking at this, if you from a betting perspective, this is the sort of game you might take Stormers to win by 1 to 12 points, like a narrow Stormers win at about the 15 to 10.
Yeah,
or perhaps
exactly.
either side within. Yeah. Or either side within 7 points, perhaps. That will give you the Munster win up to 7 as well as the Stormers win. Fareed comes in and says, like, guys. And yes, if you do like the show, please do hit the like button and the subscribe button. It does help the channel a lot. Right, let's go up to Henrik. Henrik, you're going to be at the ground on Saturday. You're going to be surrounded by Stormers supporters, not just in the broader stadium, but the people you're going to watch with, of course, going to be Stormers supporters. Where are you shouting and where's your money going? And are you shouting where your money's going or in the opposite direction?
Yeah, Brent, all the people going with me are Stormers supporters. Funnily enough, apart from my wife, nobody knows that I'm a punter, actually, the guys that I go with. And I won't even tell them. They don't know that I bet on rugby. But yeah, my money is on Munster already. I took +5.5 and +4.5 early in the week. I like Munster to win the game, actually. The Stormers have played very well, but they've conceded points easily in both their playoff games against the Bulls and against Connacht, especially against Connacht. I was very disappointed with how easily they conceded points. And I don't think against Munster they're going to score the points as easily as they did against the other two teams, the Bulls and Connacht. And I think they're going to concede again. So I like the unders on total points, but my biggest concern for that is actually Munster scoring points, not the Stormers for the unders losing. So I might actually look at a bit of Stormers unders as well. So I like Munster to win the game. Obviously, the plus is the way to go for me, and I don't see Munster winning by a lot. So that 1-12 either way, the team you fancy, I think you can go on that 1-12 to get a nice value on the price on that one, and also the 1-7 that you mentioned, Brent. I think either team, that's a good bet as well. I can't see any team running away with this. Munster will stay in the game. I think the Stormers at home with the crowd and everything, they will stay in it as well. So tight game. That plus is too big. I'd make this a choice game. The value is definitely on the plus, and the 1-12s, those bets, and under some points. I think you should go unders here. I can't see the Stormers scoring points as easily as they did in the other games, so that's why I like the unders as well.
And I don't know what the weather forecast is on Saturday, Henrik, but you sent me a video earlier. It's been pelting down for a couple of days in Cape Town. So perhaps you were saying the drainage is not bad at the ground, but Harry touched on the pitch, and it's not going to take much to turn that into a bit of a mud bath, surely.
Yeah, it's been raining a lot today, Brent. It started at around about midnight last night, and it's been non-stop. It started raining again now, so it's still raining in Cape Town. Very wet. Tomorrow it will be clear. Saturday it will be clear. The conditions will be very good on Saturday. Not a lot of points, about 7 meters per second. But yeah, like you said, I'm not sure. Oh, the drainage should be all right because it's a very sandy. But beneath the grass, it's sandy, and that's why it gets the grass gets cut up so quickly because it's sand underneath. So the drainage should be all right. But yeah, there's been a lot of rain down here.
Right, and Mark Dunphy just saying he believes it's a sellout market. Most definitely is. 55,000 people, I understand. And yeah, credit to Henrik. I saw on Twitter he managed to get a whole bunch of tickets where his other guys were battling just to get one. So it's, the Undertaker clearly has some influence there. Right, let's move on to Super Rugby, and I'm going to get cracking with, let me just go back up to where I've got, because I've just changed the order of the show slightly. We're going to go into Super Rugby Pacific, and we'll get cracking with Harry on the first game. Harry, this takes place tomorrow morning, South African time. We've got a handicap that's been pretty stable all week, -6.5 Highlanders favourites against the Reds. Highlanders, well, they're pretty much in a must-win situation if they're going to make the playoffs now. And the Reds are one of the teams they're competing with, so this would be an important one for them. And we've got a points line, of course, under the roof here of 61.5. What are your views on this game?
Yeah, so a lot of Super Rugby has been compromised because of the resting policies and decisions by coaches to rest players here and there, but sometimes also for All Blacks. This one actually is going to have full rosters. You're going to see Harry Wilson, McVeigh, and Uru together in a loose trio. That's going to be good for the Reds. So I think I'm going Reds on this one. I think the Reds can do this. The Highlanders have been suspect all year. They've had a lot of must-win games or must-do games, and they haven't really come through. So I've lost faith in the Highlanders. I also think that there's a syndrome when you're playing for a coach that you actually like and he's going away, sometimes unfairly blamed, that you play a little bit harder. I don't know what that's called, the dead cat bounce or something. So I think I'm going to go Reds.
Of course, if you don't like the coach, then it probably won't bounce. But I hear exactly what you're saying, Harry. And in fact, I just posted the preview on Good for the Game now. Very much aligned with you and very much aligned with Fareed as well. Henrik, I've gone Reds to win this game. It's one of those games I could see going either way, if I must be totally honest. But I think the value here is in the Reds, and I've gone for them on the board at 2-1. What do you think of that play?
Yeah, Brent, I saw your post on the Good for the Game forum and your preview. I agree with you. I also think the Reds can win here. I think the plus 6.5 is great value. Well, you're getting better value on the price on them to win the game. But I think that's a very safe bet on this game. I like the Reds overs as well. I put that on Twitter. I put a bit of a thread there. I think you saw it as well. All the games of my fancies, and I like the overs on Reds. But it's 27.5. If they're going to win the game, you would want them to score about 30 or more points in this kind of game. Brendan Pickerel is the ref. He used to be an unders ref, but he's not an unders ref anymore. His games has had a few points this year. So I like the overs, but I think the plus is a much safer bet, actually, having thought about it through the day a bit more. So yeah, plus 6.5 for me here, and maybe a bit of overs Reds as well.
Excellent. So we're all shouting home the Reds there, no doubt about that. Henrik, will stick with you for the next game here. It's the Rebels, minus 7.5 against the Western Force, who I've been doing pretty well on. I've backed them quite a few times. But I must point out that the Force's wins have generally come at home. They haven't been particularly good travellers, and now obviously have to go to Melbourne. And we've got a points line here of 60.5. Now, Aussie derbies have been higher scoring than normal, but we're starting to get into the region there where I'm starting to think of an unders play. Henrik, what about you?
Yeah, Brent, you touched on that now with Force. They've been playing really well in Perth, but whenever they've travelled, they haven't been that great. They've struggled to score points away from home, and they've lost quite frequently away from home. So yeah, I like the Rebels. I think what's it, -7? You get -7. I think if you shop around, you can still get -6.5 at a decent price. At least 8 to 10, maybe a bit better. As the Rebels, they've picked a really good team here. Carter Gordon is back. Kimini, the flank forward, is back. He's very good for them. So yeah, I like the Rebels, but the bet I like the best here is the Force unders. I think it's 26.5. Yeah, 26.5. I think that's a cracker of a bet. I really like the unders on the Force here.
Right, unders Force, 26.5 points. Harry, we haven't heard them calling your name on the intercom just yet. What's your view on this game?
Yeah, Isaac Rada is back. So that's the big story for the Wallaby watch. But, one lock is not going to be as influential on a match as, like Henrik says, the back line. And I think the Rebels have shown they can score. The whole year we've had a problem with these Aussie derbies theory. I know I'm the same as you, Brent. They always are low scoring, but not this year. So I don't know when that breaks or when that changes. I'm actually thinking this could be that. It could be a heavy track. I think it's going to be a heavy track. And the Force have a unique ability, even if they're losing, to make the other team look bad. So I probably would be interested in that points on that one.
Yeah, I must say, I'm leaning unders on points here. Yes, worried about some of the Aussie derbies, but at the end of the day, this is a very important game. I think it was Farid who pointed it out in the chat. For the Force in particular, this is an important game for them as far as their playoff chances. I think they're going to treat this almost like a knockout type of match and maybe take their 3 points early in that, which is something we haven't seen a lot in Super Rugby. So interesting to see how that transpires. Harry, will go then to Saturday's games. Fiji and Drua are -14.5 against Moana Pacifica. We've got a high points line here at 63.5, but when you consider that the first time these guys met, there were 70 points in it, with Drua edging at 36-34. That points line may not be high enough.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. This could be a defense-free match here. It's a sad story, really. Moana Pacifica, they were formed to be a catchment system for the islands, but actually they're just becoming almost a feeding system for the Crusaders and Hurricanes. So they're really on hard luck. I don't think they'll get a dead cat bounce from their coach announcing resignation. I think they're pretty much done. I think the Drua, on the other hand, are on the up. They're almost like a shadow national team, like the Jaguares were for the Pumas. And so I'm expecting really big things. And on that note, guys, I have to go.
Okay, have a good flight, Harry. Thanks very much for joining us.
Harry.
And we'll Henrik and I will see you through. That was at Harry Baldy Jones on Twitter there from the Raw podcast. Cheers. Thanks very much. And Henrik, just to bring you in there, I'm very much leaning towards points in this game. I was looking at Drua points, and that's over 38.5.
Brent, that's actually very high. I'm in the Moana Pacifica camp here. I know they have nothing to play for. Well, they can't make the playoffs, and the Drua can make the playoffs. I see Farid's comment there. Both these teams have picked good teams. I like the plus here, Brent. I even though the Drua will probably win, in my opinion, they've been better when they've played in Suva than in Lautoka, and this game is in Lautoka. The Suva crowd has been better. Their performance has just been better in Suva. So I like the Moana plus here. But the better bet on this game, in my opinion, is Moana over 23.5 points. I see both teams scoring points, and I think Moana will score 4 tries here. So yeah, I like the overs on Moana, and I like the plus a bit here as well. I think they will stay with the draw here.
Okay, interesting. You're one of the few punters that I've seen really punting the plus. I must say I'm leaning towards the draw on this one. I just feel that Moana Pacifica might bow their heads and maybe just accept that it's just been one of those years for them. We'll move on to the next game, Henrik. Crusaders here. This handicap has come in slightly. There was 25.5. I think it opened 22.5, went 25.5. Then there was lots of talk about the Waratahs picking a weakened side for this game. But in actual fact, I think Hooper, I saw, was the only player out. And it's pretty much close to a full-strength Waratah side. And the money's starting to come for them now. And we've got a handicap here of 23.5 and a points line of 58.5.
Yeah, Hooper rested and Parise, and I think what's the other one? I can't remember the other guy's name, but yeah, 3 guys rested. Sorry. But yeah, in my opinion, this plus, this handicap is too big. The Crusaders will obviously want a bonus point win here because they can theoretically still catch the Chiefs, mathematically catch them. So they will want a bonus point win here, but it just looks too big for me. I think the Waratahs will stay with them, but there's a few Crusaders. It's a kind of team you probably expect from them. But yeah, they will miss Will Jordan, and I'm not that fond of Dallas McLeod at wing, those kind of guys. So yeah, I think the Waratahs will stay in this one. I like the Waratahs overs here, Brent. It was over 15.5 available. I think it's over 16.5 at the moment, and I like that over 58.5 as well. It's an afternoon kickoff in Christchurch. I think it's 6 o'clock South African time or 6:30 thereabouts. And James Dolman is the ref, and he is the biggest overs ref in Super Rugby. So yeah, I expect a lot. And from memory, I haven't checked the stats, but from memory, Crusaders Waratahs games always high-scoring games. I remember that record-breaking game that the Crusaders beat the Waratahs. The Crusaders scored over 90 points, I think, in that game. The Waratahs also quite a few points. That was the big high-scoring Super Rugby game quite a few years ago. Now, but yeah, I like the plus here, and I like the Waratahs points and overs points. And this is my strongest fancy of all the Super Rugby games this weekend is the overs on points here.
Now, I hadn't looked at the times of the kickoff, but if you're telling me this is a 6 o'clock kickoff, what time is the Drua game kicking off South African time? Because that takes place before this game.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, okay. Yeah. Jeez, okay. Was my
daughter's 21st on... Hey? You couldn't get a better time for a kickoff. I love those 4 o'clock morning kickoffs.
I must admit, I do enjoy them as well, although it's my daughter's 21st on Saturday night, so I think I should be resting up and not getting up at 4 in the morning to watch rugby. Fareed did say if anybody can make this cap, though, it is the Crusaders. And yeah, certainly I like Hendrik's strategy there on the Waratahs points, and a good chance that will be going into the good for the game preview. Right, Hendrik, then we got the Blues minus 5.5 against the Hurricanes. This handicap has sort of bounced around the 5.5, 6.5 mark all week. And we've got a points line here of 55.5. I think these sides are sitting sort of 4th and 5th on the table. And it should be another cracking New Zealand derby.
Yeah, good one, Brent. Two teams, two very good New Zealand teams, along with the Chiefs, probably the 3 best teams. I rate these 2 teams above the Crusaders. I'm not... The Blues team they've picked, I'm not not that great team in my opinion. Harry Plummer at 10, they're going to miss Bowden Barrett. Zon Sullivan, he kicks well, but I would have put Stephen Perifetta at 15 or even at 10 actually, ahead of Harry Plummer. And you've got Akira Ioane. I'm not an Akira Ioane fan. So yeah, I would have put Anton Segner there in the loose trio rather. It's a better workhorse. The Hurricanes, they get Adi Sevilla and Jordy Barrett back. Those are 2 very important players for them. I think the plus is the way to go here, and I like the Hurricanes to win the game as well. Even though the game is in Auckland, I think the Hurricanes can win this. So that plus 5.5, I like that. Angus Gordon is the ref here. He's an overs ref. So, yeah, you have to look at points here. I think Hurricanes' point is 24.5, and I like the overs on that one. I think they can score 4 tries here and maybe even a penalty or two. Jordy Barrett is a very good kicker. So, yeah, I like that 24.5 overs on Hurricanes and definitely the plus 5.5.
Right, let's see what the guys say in the live chat here. I think Fareed very much in alignment with you on the Hurricanes. Johan says Blues have 2 wings playing at centre. Iman Ione and Mark Dunphy reckons as well the Hurricanes could win. So, guys, it sounds like we're all quite aligned on this game. We all fancy the Hurricanes. I mean, I guess it's always going to be a tight New Zealand derby, but I think Hurricanes could be the player on the board here as well. Right, Henrik, let's get on to what is our final Super Rugby game. We've got the Brumbies against the Chiefs here. Now, I misread the table slightly when I handicapped this game. I thought the Chiefs were guaranteed top spot, which is not actually the case. And for that reason, when I capped the game, I assumed the Chiefs would rest players. And I went Brumbies minus 5.5. It opened Brumbies plus 5.5. But there has been a bit of money coming for the Chiefs. Clearly, my handicap is going to be well out. But coming for the Brumbies to move the cap down. What are your views here? And we got a points line in Canberra of 56.5.
Yeah, Brent, I think there will be a bit of money for the Chiefs still. I haven't got money down on this one yet. I'm waiting for that money on the Chiefs because I want to back the Brumbies. I'm going to call the Chiefs, the Brumbies to win the game, and I'm going to take the plus. I am hoping for 5.5, even maybe 6.5, but that's probably pushing it a bit. I like the Brumbies team that they've picked here. The Chiefs have picked a very good team as well. But yeah, I like the Brumbies here. I like the plus, and I think the Brumbies will. The Chiefs they've been good up front, but I think the Brumbies will actually be better than them up front. And Nick Berry is the ref here. He's a big unders ref, and this game just feels like an unders game. The Chiefs don't need a bonus point out. They just need a win. The Brumbies, they will be happy with the win. This just feels like an unders game for me. So I think it was under 58.5, yeah, 56.5, yeah, I'll still take that. So I like the unders on points, and I like the Brumbies on the plus, and Brumbies to win for me.
I also like the Brumbies in this game, Henrik, but I see there are a few boys in the live chat pushing against us here. So this could be one where the bookmakers have got the line and the betting about right as far as that. And let's see Darren Holiday coming in and says fancies the Chiefs to get the win there. Right. That brings us to the end of Super Rugby. Henrik, I'm not expecting you to comment on this one. I just want to bring this game up. I had it here. I didn't know what time Harry would be leaving the show, but I'm going to put it up for the guys in the live chat. It's a Gallagher Premiership final. We got Sale plus 5.5 against Saracens and a points line of 51.5. So if any of the boys in the live chat have got a view on that, just post it in the comments there, and we'll bring it up from what I can't really say. I've seen a few tweets here and there, so I can't really say I've got a firm opinion on this one. And Henrik, I pretty much know you don't have a firm opinion on this one.
I didn't even know who's playing. I saw somewhere on Twitter. I saw Sali's in the final, but I didn't even know who they're playing. I don't follow the Premiership. I don't like the Premiership. It's not a nice competition. I don't like the Premiership. So, yeah, I'm not following it at all.
Definitely. So we'll see if any of the guys come in. But that takes us to a competition that I know you do like, and you like it a lot. And Johan Scooby just did make the comment about my Western Province jersey. My wife was pointing out, because at the back it says my name and it's got 40. I was actually given this for my 40th birthday, which means this shirt is over 10 years old already. But great to wear it still, this province jersey. It doesn't mean that I'm going for province this week, though. And we'll get into the games now. Henrik, starting with the Sharks against the Griffins. Now, the Sharks have really been the form team of the Currie Cup in the last few weeks. They're playing some really great rugby. They've firmed to, I think, 16-10 favourites to win the competition. And here we got them 24.5 against the Griffins. Now, the one thing I think I've got wrong here, am I right in saying the Griffins are actually at home here? Because the Sharks played the Griffins.
Brent, are you quoting the Sunbet fixtures?
On the Currie Cup, yes, I've looked at it. Did they have it wrong?
Sunbet has it wrong. I can't bet with Sunbet anymore. But one of my friends pointed it out this afternoon to me that Sunbet has it the wrong way around. So the game is in Welcome. It is a home game for the Griffins.
Okay, I used player bet for the other ones, actually player bets, and then the Currie Cup, they had them all there, and I quickly took them. But I was just thinking now, because I know the Sharks won by 16 in Durban. Okay, we got the Griffins at home plus 24.5.
Yeah, that's what I think is a 3:30 kickoff tomorrow afternoon. 3:00 kickoff to 3 thereabouts. So it's afternoon kickoff. I didn't check the weather, but I suspect the weather will be good in Welkom. I like the Sharks here, Brent. Like you said, they have been the form team. They coach well, and their defense is good. They don't concede a lot of points. So minus 24.5 all the way. Yeah, I saw Griffin's points is 19.5, and I thought to myself, you should probably take the under 19.5. But the Griffins have scored a few points the last few games. I remember Western Province being up 24-0, and in the end, I think we're winning 24-21, something like that. Can't remember exactly what it was. So a bit concerned about that. But the Sharks' defense is very good. But I think the safe bet here is Sharks minus 24.5. The Sharks have picked a very good team. They've got a few guys on a bench that would have started the previous game. Guy like Fassi, I see Notches on the bench, Vincent Chuchukas on the bench. But they've still got a very good team. Guy like Ruan Janssen for Rensburg starting at 12. You will smash those Griffins guys. Decent Sharks team. Minus all the way here, Brent. One of the stronger Currie Cup fancies for me, if not the strongest this weekend. I like the minus 24.5 a lot.
I also like them. And just looking at the table, they're currently second behind the Cheetahs, and I gather that's on points difference. So here's a great opportunity. You never know, teams can sort of win all the way in. They've already played the Cheetahs twice. So this is a good opportunity to get the bonus point, but also to improve the points difference quite a lot. Johan Esthuizen saying he sees a score something like 48-18, which would, yes, be good enough to deliver the handicap. That's for sure. Right, Western Province, plus 5.5 against the Golden Lions here. Now, the Lions are out to 12-1 to win the Currie Cup after their narrow defeat last week. And, Henrik, before I even get your opinion on this game, I thought of you last week. Lions, I didn't really get to watch much of the game, actually, but I was on the Lions on the board. They're hot on the attack in the dying sort of seconds of the game. They go for a drop goal. Now, the first thing I'm thinking, I know what Henrik's going to say here. A, you don't go for the drop goal, preferably in that situation, unless you've got an advantage and you're going to get the penalty. 100%. And B, not when time is up on the clock. Because at least if there's 78.5 minutes going, the other guys have got to kick it back at you, you get another chance. To take a drop goal as your last chance to win the game, when you're in total control of possession, and it's a matter of time before the ref sticks his arm out, I thought that was absolutely brain dead from the Lions. And I'm guessing you're in agreement with me on that one.
Yeah, Brent, 100% correct. You don't take the drop goal if time is up and you haven't got the penalty advantage. You keep playing and you force the penalty advantage, then you can go for the drop goal. Or like you said, if there's a minute or two left and you're sure there will be another start, then you can take the drop goal because you're going to get the ball again from the drop out. But sometimes you don't understand that these guys get paid to play rugby and think what they're doing. It's stupid. It's such a low percentage play if you haven't got the penalty advantage, or if you're going to get it. Like, don't do that.
Okay, so this game, Henrik, we've got Province plus 5.5 against the Golden Lions. Now, is this game taking place? Is this game taking place on Friday night? Eh?
Yes, it's 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and this game is in Athlone.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, because the Munster, the Stormers game is at the Cape Town Stadium. So last week's game, Western Province game, was also in Athlone. The Lions have picked a very good team. But Province have picked a good team, in my opinion. They've lost. The playmaker, I can't remember his name now. Sorry, but still pretty decent Western Province team. And Western Province,
Mazulu,
Sorry. Thanks. But Western Province, they are coached very well and they've played well. But you have to respect the Lions team here. I think the plus is still the way to go here, Brent. The Lions might win the game, but I think this should be closer to choice again. So plus 5.5 is the way to go, in my opinion. And I think I'm going to call Western Province to win the game as well. But plus 5.5 definitely the bet for me.
Interesting. I see Fareed very strong on the Lions minus. I see Coyle on the Good for the Game forum has come in and said he's emptying out on Western Province plus 5.5. So this is a game where there's definitely opinion on both sides of the fence. I must say, personally, I'm leaning towards the Lions. I think they're going to come with a strong run, potentially to make the semis. And it's just purely the fact that Western Province they are a good Currie Cup side, but the Lions are now able to call on a few URC players and that. But yeah, let's see what happens.
What's your opinion on points on this one? And before you answer, I saw, not the stat, I checked the results this afternoon. The last 5 Western Province games has not gone over 50 points. The highest scoring province game for the last 5 games they've played in has been 49 points.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't get to see much of the province game last week, but what I did see, it looked, Athlone to me has the look of a high-scoring stadium. But the turf seemed to be holding up quite well. But yeah, as you say, province games have been pretty low scoring. I imagine we're going to get a line here somewhere around 55.5, perhaps. I would think, and yeah, I'm probably going to be looking for a Lions points play potentially. What do you think the line will be here?
I'll go for the Lions points as well, but the opposite side of you, unders.
There we go. Darren Holiday, he reckons Lions 1-12 is the bet of the weekend for me. So yeah, you're probably they are favourites of the game. They'll probably get anywhere from 16 to 18 to 10 on that bet. Right. So Henrik and myself in very different camps on this particular game. I like that one. Right, Henrik, Cheetahs -9.5 against the Griquas. Cheetahs have been a bit off form. They're still top of the table, but they're not looking as good as they were. They did hammer the Griquas early in the tournament, but can the Griquas come back and shock them? They've been, at times, the Griquas play some really good rugby. They just don't seem to be able to deliver it consistently.
Yeah, both these teams, Brent, the Cheetahs have gone off the boil. They are not as good as they were in the first part of the Currie Cup. And like you said, Griquas, you don't really know what to expect from them. At times they've played really well, and then you back them and they just don't turn up. But I think with the Free State Derby that this is, I think you have to go for the plus here. I think the Griquas can stay with the Cheetahs. I haven't seen teams on this. So I don't think the teams have been announced. It will probably only come out tomorrow. I saw points, and I think I saw Griquas 24.5 thereabouts. I think there can be points in this game, and I think Griquas can score points here. So yeah, over some Griquas points for me, and also the plus, but not a very strong fancy.
Darren mentioning 58.5, but he might be talking about the Western Province game. I actually didn't see any.
He spoke about the previous one.
Was it about the previous one?
He spoke about the previous one. But the points, I think the points is out for this game and the next game. Let me quickly check, Brent. I'm checking on PokerBet.
Okay, they got the points.
They've got the points, yeah. So this one, 59.5, Brent.
59.5.
And the next one, let me quickly tell you that one as well. 58.5.
Okay. So your final conclusions on this game then, Henrik?
Yeah, plus Griquas plus and Griquas over 20. I think it was 24 now. Griquas over.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Griquas. I must say I like the Griquas.
23.5. Actually 23.5. So that's a nice one. Better than 24.5, obviously, because if you get 3 converted tries and a penalty, or 4 tries, 2 converted, then you get to 24 as well.
Right, Walter just making the point. The Lions Western Province game 3 months ago was 72 points there at Ellis Park. But if the spread's 58.5, then I'd be nervous in that Province game. Right, here we got what did you say the points line was here? 59.5.
Yeah, 58.5.
58.5. And Pumas up against the Blue Bulls. The Pumas also gone a bit off the boil, and they certainly, to me, haven't looked like the side of last season. But if you go back to week 1 of this competition, I think it was 63-15. They absolutely hammered the Bulls. I remember that time there was a massive betting shift when the Bulls named their side. Went from like -3 to -12. And you just said, climb on the Pumas. And the Pumas absolutely romped to victory. Pumas plus 11.5, Henrik, and a points 58.5.
Yeah, the Bulls have conceded quite a lot of points in their games. So with that in mind, Pumas plus for me. After week 1, you would never have gotten this line for a home game for the Pumas against anybody. So even though the Pumas have gone off the boil a bit, I think the plus is definitely the way to go here. Plus 11.5 looks big. I would cap this game Pumas plus 5.5 thereabouts. So this looks very big. And Pumas overs as well. I think, let me check quickly again, 24.5. Pumas points 24.5. I can see them scoring more than 24 points in Nelspruit. So kind of like that. More than a medium play for me on this one, actually. The plus and the overs on the Pumas.
I quickly went and looked what I capped this game. Interestingly, I capped it at plus 13.5 Pumas. That being said, I'm not really, I'm with you there. And I've always considered the Pumas more of an underdog team than a favorite team. So when you start getting the bigger handicaps on them, you can go for it. Here comes Reverend popping in from New Zealand, saying he likes the Reds plus Blues. He thinks Perifetta slots into 10 early. Yeah, none of us are big Plummer fans, that's for sure. And the Blues come right, and the Waratahs plus. So thanks for that from New Zealand there, Reverend. Brings us to the end of the Currie Cup and pretty much the end of the show as far as rugby goes. Henrik, not that many games as normal to talk about, but let's get a feel for what your best bets are for the weekend.
Yeah, Brent, I'm going to tell you for each competition what I like the most, and I haven't really decided which is the best bet for me. So I like the Sharks minus. I think in a Currie Cup, the Sharks minus is the best bet. In Super Rugby, I like that overs in Christchurch, afternoon game, Dolman, overs on Waratah's points, and then Munster plus and unders on that game. I'm going to go for Munster plus, if you can still get 5.5, plus 5.5, even plus 4.5. I think Munster on the plus, best bet of the weekend.
Right. Walter just coming in. The Bulls have a good record in Nelspruit, and Marcel could see her back to lead there. Johan Esterhuizen with his treble. He's got Drua match over 63.5, Crusaders over 58.5, and Reds plus 7.5. For my best bet, well, you'll have to go down below this and subscribe to our free weekly newsletter. I've been on a hell of a good run until last week, and then I had Leinster minus. Did I take? No, I didn't take Leinster in the best bet. What did I have? Anyway, I know I lost my best bet last week. I'm sure some of the boys will be able to tell me what it was. But just quickly, that Leinster game last week, I mean, they took a gamble the week before when they played against Munster. And then, it was Leinster. I backed Leinster last week minus, I think it was minus 9.5 or 8.5. And 17-0 up, Henrik. I thought the money was in the bank. Thankfully, I took a first half handicap, which is very rare. But overall, I lost because I had a big bet on the minus 8.5. And I mean, La Rochelle was just too strong, eh?
Yeah, Leinster tried to double bank, eh? They tried to get through the semi-final without playing all their best players. And then in the end, La Rochelle they were great in the second half. So, it's bad for Leinster. They've done it again. I don't want to say they choked, but they probably did choke. But La Rochelle, they were full value for the win.
It's worked out in your favour, and certainly in the Cape Town Stadium's favour with 55,000 expected on Saturday. So we look forward to some tweets from Ferryman's Pub and also perhaps from the ground, just with a conditions report close to the time. And Henrik, it's been great having you on the show, and good having Harry on earlier. So pity he had to jump off. But some nice strong fancies for the weekend. Thanks, Brent. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Obviously, very much looking forward to that final. I think it's going to be a great vibe. It's going to be a great crowd, and it's good that there's a lot of Munster fans coming over. Looking forward to get them in the pubs. Looking forward to the weekend, and obviously the punting, and I hope all the guys do well, and all of the best for everyone and for you as well, Brent. I hope you have a good punting weekend. Excellent. Thanks very much. It's going to be good. As I say, I got my daughter's 21st, but I will be betting on the Giro. I had a nice win today on a little bit of a match bet multiple in the Giro, and tomorrow's a big stage, so I'll certainly be watching that one. As Farid perhaps says it there aptly, let's clean up, guys. Thanks to all the boys in the live chat and to my guests. We'll see you next week, Thursday night at 9 o'clock for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters.